Hi everybody and welcome to Beyond Politics. Today we're going to be looking at what the future might look like in 3 years' time and how every facet of our existence, from how we work to the possibility of getting employment to how much water we are allocated to how much food we can buy at our local grocery store, is controlled by the fact that we live in a digitized world.
Just imagine a world where you can't do things manually anymore, where that is not acceptable, where businesses won't trade with you, where you can't open a bank account, etc. If you are not digitized as an individual and everything you do, own, etc., is digitally captured, all your biometrics are digitally captured. That could be retina scan, thumbprints, fingerprints, whatever the case may be. Everything about you, facial recognition, etc., is known to some AI platform or digital platform somewhere, and that the government is in control with large corporations or international organizations. And just imagine, and please tell us in the comments what you think about this, if the internet that this relies on, or the backbone that this relies on, would collapse, what your world would look like, or a day would look like, if you cannot rely on manually doing something.
Just this morning when we tried to buy electricity, we got a little notification on our banking app that said Cape Town is experiencing issues, your transaction might not be successful. What those issues are irrelevant to the consumer. There can be endless issues and we can be rationed to a maximum degree. And this reality might be a lot closer than you think, and that's why we'll be discussing 50 in 5.
And to understand 50 in 5, we've got very specific things that we want to cover, because it is actually having 50 countries in the world, and there's 30 countries currently signed up to this idea, transition to one of the objectives of this digitization within the next 5 years, so by 2028.
That's 3 years from now.
Yep.
Just to put it into perspective. I would first like to know, before we get started, is there anyone that's listening to this that thinks it's a wonderful thing that the world is moving towards the fourth industrial revolution, that we're moving towards digitization of entire global populations, even in far remote places? Is there anyone that has a different perspective, that thinks it's a good idea? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to hear other perspectives. I personally think it's a terrible idea because I like freedom. So 50 in 5, what is it? 50 in 5 is a global campaign that is in collaboration, and they also say it's country-led. It's country-led in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, with Co-Develop, with, what are the other ones? The United Nations Development Plan, as well as a few other organizations. And it's supported by USAID, GovStack, Inter-American Development Company, and UN Women. So interestingly,
don't forget UNICEF. I mean, UNICEF is all over the world claiming that they are feeding the world's children and the poor, etc.
Yeah.
But all these UN organizations and subsidiaries really get their claws into
there are
this.
so many subsidiaries. It's unbelievable. So those names we just mentioned, it would actually be very helpful if you go and look at what all of those organizations are up to. It's very fascinating.
But don't forget the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere when it comes to digitization at the moment, and it's fascinating what they say on their own website about what we're going to discuss now, which is digital public interfaces. So 50 in 5 is in collaboration with all and in support with all of these organizations. Why? Their goal is by 2028 to get 50 countries to implement at least one component of DPI in their government. So that's one of those components include digital finance, digital payment systems, digital identity, our favorites.
Yeah, I remember the one that I was called the conspiracy theorist
Indeed.
for during COVID-19.
And then digital data exchange. So the digital public infrastructures involve 3 of those components, and 50 in 1 campaign wants 50 countries to at least implement one of those. And various countries are on various trajectories with regards to that, and we'll discuss some of that.
And we'll give you links to the 50 in 5 campaign, so that you can read this yourself. You know, you don't have to trust us and what we say. We encourage people to do their own research. We believe that in Beyond Politics, we give you things that's beyond just the politics. People so get stuck on the governments in their country, the systems in the country, the parties in the country, individual candidates in their countries, but they don't look at what's driving them behind the scenes. And often people make promises that mean nothing, because this is actually what's going down.
This is the stuff that's actually important.
Yeah.
So why are countries implementing this? Why are our world leaders or nation leaders agreeing to do this? Well, the selling point is that it's going to be a lot easier to deliver government services. Government services that include verifying if information is true or not. Government services that include healthcare, less crime, safety, of course. It's going to impact every facet of our lives. And we're not going to be able to move without being in compliance with this digitization. And that's something that's terrifying, that there is no alternative. There is no opt-out scenario here.
They're not giving us an alternative to this, or saying that this does not have to happen. We are being told that this will happen. Governments are being told that you will implement this. And currently there's 30 countries around the world, including France and Brazil,
It's fascinating.
from BRICS, which I find interesting, that have actually adopted this, and many other countries. So you can go to the website and go and have a look.
I'll actually talk about one or two of them.
Okay.
Just remember, the selling point is that governments can deliver services better and faster to its citizens, even in remote places where there isn't yet DPI at all or no internet at all. And the thing I say is that we shouldn't need all these services from government itself. We should move away from needing all these services from government. If society progresses, we should need less and less services from government. So all of this infrastructure should be irrelevant to our lives if society is improving, and it's not.
Unless the plan is to get rid of governments and corporations actually running our lives, and maybe that's the way we're headed.
That is terrifying. So I just wanted to bring up examples of 3 countries, very different countries, I must say, that are on this journey from the start of being involved in the 50 and 5 campaign.
We are from South Africa, and our South African government hasn't gone fully officially on board as a country with a 50 in 5 plan. However, there's many South Africans intricately involved in the process. So you can believe 100% that if you are a South African, that the South African government has been implementing all of these plans all along.
Yeah, we don't have to be on this list because we
don't need to. We are doing it. We are heading it
tomorrow. So here's Zambia. These links will be in the description, so you can go look at the fact sheet yourself. I'm just going to pick a couple of phrases here, but do yourself a favor and read the in-depth documents. This is Zambia. This is a real-world, real-time example of a country being part of 50 and 5. So, digital identity. They are in the piloting and implementing phase. The piloting and implementing phase. With eKYC, the government is using data from a trusted federated database to offer online identity services. The service has various uses across multiple sectors. For example, in the agricultural sector, it's being used to select eligible farmers participating in the government's Farmers Input Support Program. This scares me.
Eligible farmers.
This next part scares me more though. In the health sector, integrating eKYC with the electronic health record system, Smart Care Pro, means over 9 million patients will access healthcare services. Meaning if you are not part of this digitization identity system, you are not going to get healthcare. You're going to have to work in some underground kind of movement to try get any kind of service that you might need.
Any underground doctors available out there?
So they're digital payments. Remember, there's 3 components to DPI. The next one's digital payments. They are implementing and maintaining. In data exchange systems, they are implementing. This is Zambia. Lesotho's involved as well. So is Norway. Norway, where are they? Digital ID, implementing, maintaining. Digital payments, piloting and maintaining. Data exchange systems, implementing and maintaining. They got e-wallets, they got creative solutions for data creation and storage, and they fully implement easy to use and secure eID for all citizens. And I know Cyprus has also implemented that.
Yes, data exchange systems is basically where numerous companies, banks, etc. exchange your data with the government, with other platforms. And you have no right to withhold that information because then you're not in the system. And to me, it's always about choice. If you don't have a choice to be in the system, there is something wrong. And then we need to fight this with everything we've got.
One more example, please. And this is Brazil, a BRICS
One of the
country.
BRICS countries,
One of the
yes.
BRICS countries. So where are they? Government.br account and national identity card. An overhaul of the foundational identification system, which we're going through with driver's license cards, which will integrate
And
all
IDs.
identity issuers to ensure the uniqueness of records based on biometric information. As of 2024, there are over 160 million registered users with gov.br accounts with access to over 4,200 services. Please comment if you think this sounds wonderful. There are obviously going to be aspects of it that makes your life easier and efficient. But
Well,
we have
you're-
to look at the bigger picture. When in history ever has a corporation or a person having power over a large group of people ever ended in good results? I can't think of any examples.
Never in the history of humanity. And normally, people get fed up to the point where they overthrow whoever that system or government or
this
corporation
is new. This is an global digital network which Bill Gates is spearheading at the moment. He is advocating for this. He thinks is the best thing ever. It's very hard to overthrow that. It's very hard to fight against
100%.
that.
And this is where it crosses a red line, where the thought police literally becomes reality, where AI will anticipate what you might do in future, and you might get a visit from the police.
And we will put in the links, a couple of documents. It's lots of reading. But if you really want to know what's going on, read those documents. It's from the horse's mouth. It's from the UNDP and similar organizations that are in support of 15.5. And you can read it for yourself.
And once we cross those lines, you can never go back. So they want that digital infrastructure in place, and obviously you need fiber everywhere. So digging in fiber was a big part of the work done when no one else was allowed to move in South Africa. There were teams of people digging long trenches, thousands of kilometers of trenches to put fiber in the ground. That happened during the COVID-19 pandemic in our country. Those buckies, white buckies, were everywhere. A lot of them were unmarked, but nothing was happening to those teams during COVID. They were digging everywhere. So the infrastructure is obviously a priority, so that you have the backbone in which you can monitor, track and trace every move of every person. And they don't want to use those words, do they?
No. It's about efficient services delivered to the people.
Yes, and safety.
And safety
Safely
always.
delivered to people.
Safety is a big one that's often used. So I just want to bring it back home to what we usually talk about, what people usually talk about, politics. In America, it's Democrats versus Republicans, and people hate each other. Yeah, in South Africa, it's usually the ANC versus the DA versus the EFF versus the MK, and the people fight.
Well,
and
we have
argue
a Communist Party coming in from the side.
every once in a while. And we have the GNU now. And so many people are celebrating the GNU.
A government of national unity,
But
the GNU, or the beast, as we call
while
it.
all this politics happens, these things are being implemented behind the scenes.
And this is what we should be focused on.
This is what we should be focused on. So that's everything for today. Remember to go to the description, read all the links, and do everything in your power to maintain your freedom and say no to government control.
And tell us, please, tell us in the comments, how will you find a day where this digital system just falls apart and where you cannot do the normal transactions, or you are suddenly not allowed to do what you actually want to do in your daily life? How many of you need digitization to actually get by? And tell us if you prefer the 15.5 system, or whether you would prefer just for us to carry on as we've been and improve the current systems that we do have, where there is more freedom.